Hey everyone, Michael the Tutor 16 here. Today I'm going to be doing tutorial number 9 in Microsoft Excel. And the topics for discussion in this tutorial will be that we'll learn how to print your spreadsheets using the multiple print options that are available to you within Microsoft Excel. We'll also look at printing in specified print ranges, printing in portrait and landscape orientations. We'll look at choosing different paper sizes, and we'll also look at setting your print margins within your spreadsheet. The advantages of using all of these print options will be that it will allow you to set all of your print settings before actually printing your spreadsheet. This will save you paper and ink by ensuring that your print settings are correctly set. Thus, it'll save you time and money. So let's go into Excel and I'll show you the different print options that are available to you. As you can see, I've gone into Excel and I've entered in some sample data here within my spreadsheet, and I'm going to use this data to show you the different print options that are available to you within Microsoft Excel. The first thing that you're going to want to do is to move your mouse to your File tab of your ribbon toolbar. When you click on it one time, you're given options of Save, Save As, Open and Close, and as you scan down you'll see Print. When you click on Print one time, it'll give you a list of choices, and these are the choices that you're going to need to decide on how you want your printout to come out on both your screen and on all of your printed documents. The first thing is to choose which printer that you're using. If you don't see your printer within the printer status area, click on it one time and it'll bring up a list of choices of all the printers that are available to you. When you find your printer, click on it one time and this should load it in your printer status location. The next thing that you want to do is to decide on whether or not you want to print active sheets or if you want to print a specific print range. Right now mine is set for print active sheets, which it's going to print everything on page 1, and as you can see I've got a little bit of data on page 2, and we'll go over this in just a moment. I'm going to go back to page 1, and what I want to do is, instead of printing all of this information, let's say that I just wanted to print a certain portion of it. To do this, I would go back to my file and just highlight the range that I want to print. So let's say I only want this information to actually print out on my sheet of paper. What I would do is, once I have it highlighted, go back to File and Print, and then under your settings, instead of Print Active Sheets, you can click on it and go down and choose Print Selection, and watch what happens to my preview on the right. As you can see, it's only showing me the information that I had highlighted within my print range, and this will be the only thing that'll print out on my sheet of paper. Now I do want everything to print out, so I'm going to go back to my file and remove this highlighted section, and then go back to File, Print, and change it back to Active Sheets. And now you can see that it put everything back to normal before I made any changes to it. The next thing that you want to do is to decide on how you want your printout to show up. Do you want it in portrait orientation or do you want it in landscape? Portrait orientation, which is what it should already be set for, is just standard letter paper, which is 8.5 by 11. If I go down and change this to landscape orientation, watch what it does to my preview. As you can see, it took the standard letter 8.5 by 11 and just flipped it over on its side, which will give you a little bit more room to print on your right-hand margin. So I still want to print in portrait orientation because I want to show you how to bring your data over from page 2. So I'm going to go back and click on portrait orientation, and it'll put it back the way it was before I made any changes. The next thing that you need to decide on is what kind of paper are you printing on. Right now it's set for letter, again 8.5 by 11. But if you click on it, you'll see a list of choices that are available to you within Excel. One of the options is legal, and if I print on legal, watch what it does to my preview. It now takes my standard letter paper and it gives me a legal size preview of what it's going to look like when I print it out on legal size paper. The only other thing that you'll want to ensure is that you have legal paper loaded in your print tray within your printer. But I want to print on regular letter paper, so I'm going to go back and choose letter, and it'll put it back the way it was before I made any changes. The next thing that you want to decide on is how you want your margins set. Right now these are standard margins that are set by Excel, but you can change both your left, right, top, and bottom margins. To do this, click on your margins, and you're given a list of choices that you have to choose from. And if you don't see the margins that you want, you can scan down and click on Custom Margins. When you click on Custom Margins, your page setup screen will pop up, and now you're given the options of changing these manually. As you can see, I've got left margin, top, bottom, and right margin. So what I want to do, since I've got a little bit of data that was on page 2 and I want to include it on page 1, what I'm going to do is I'm going to lower these settings just a little bit on each one of my margins. And as I lower them, what it's going to do is it's going to pull the data up toward the top of the page and further over to the left. So watch what happens to my preview. As you can see, it took my data, moved it all up here toward the top of the page, and moved it further over to the left. Now, as you can see, my other data that was on page 2 has now been added to page 1. So that's how you can compress your data a little bit to bring it onto page 1 and still have a nice view as on your screen and on your printouts. Now let's go back to our file and let's add about 3 or 4 lines of data so that it'll flow over onto page 2. I'm going to copy this information and I'm going to bring it over here and paste it. So now it'll add more data to my printout, which will give me 2 pages instead of 1. And I'm going to show you one other option that you have available to you. If you go back to File, Print, the next thing that I wanted to show you was scaling. On scaling, right now it's not scaling at all. So I'm going to have 2 pages. As you can see, page 1 and here's page 2. Scaling gives you the availability to take everything that's on page 2 and bring it onto page 1. But I want to show you the dangers of doing this. If you have a lot of data on page 2 and you bring it over onto page 1, it's going to compress all of your data because it's having to add everything to ensure that it fits on the first page. So if I go to Scaling and click on Fit Sheet on one page, watch what happens to my data as the way it looks on the preview. As you can see, it moved everything onto page 1, but it also resized everything because it had to compress it so everything would fit on one page. So be very careful when you're using scaling because it will distort the way it comes out both on your screen and on your printout. So that's how you use the different print options that you have available to you within Excel. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you have any questions or comments, please send them to me and I'll be more than happy to answer them. I hope you have a great day and thank you for watching.